Welcome to this explainer. Okay, today we're officially putting on our technical mentor hats. We're going to evaluate the real-world performance differences of the heavy hitters, C++, Java, and Python. If you're navigating your software engineering journey right now, you've probably wondered, which language should I master first, or which one's literally the best? Well, spoiler alert, it's all about trade-offs. We're going to dive into some absolutely fascinating benchmark data to see exactly how these languages stack up in raw speed and honestly what that actually means for your career. Let's get into it. So, let's kick things off with a fundamental question you might have when you're staring at runtime stats on your screen. You write a piece of code, right? And it runs in, say, 0.7 seconds instead of 0.6 seconds. I mean, it's literally just a fraction of a second, so why on earth do we even bother optimizing that?
Well, the answer becomes incredibly clear when we look at extreme enterprise environments. Take high-frequency trading, or HFT. In this world, algorithms are making decisions in fractions of a microsecond. A microscopic delay here, that can literally cost millions, sometimes even billions of dollars. When the stakes are that astronomically high, raw execution speed isn't just a nice-to-have, it's absolutely non-negotiable.
Here's our quick syllabus for today's session. We'll cover 1. Milliseconds count. 2. The Showdown. 3. C++ origins. 4. Speed versus design. And finally, 5. Mentor's advice.
Number 1. When every millisecond actually counts. You know, it's really not just high finance where this matters. Think about mobile development. On a phone, device resources and battery life are super strictly limited. Or think about competitive programming platforms. In those arenas, you are literally racing against the clock. When you're building a high-performance architecture, your perfectly optimized algorithm is ultimately bottlenecked by the language running it. If the language has heavy overhead, your brilliant algorithm is still going to lag behind. It's kind of like putting a lawnmower engine in a Ferrari.
All right, moving to part 2, the language performance showdown.
Now for the data-driven showdown between our contenders, running the exact same logical source code. In standard algorithms, C++ clearly edges out Java. Look at program 1. Java takes 0.79 seconds, while C++ takes only 0.69 seconds. But watch what happens when we scale that complexity up to program 2. The Java code takes 11 seconds, but C++ cuts that down to 8 seconds. It's saving whole seconds of execution time. Now imagine scaling that up to a system processing billions of requests a day. Those seconds compound into massive resource savings.
Now what's really interesting here is the massive outlier that pops up when we bring Python into the mix. We just watched Java and C++ battling it out over fractions of a second, right? Well, Python tells a completely different story.
586 seconds? No way, right? While C++ completed this particular standard program task in just 4.9 seconds, Python took a staggering 586 seconds for the exact same source code logic. That is remarkably slow by comparison. It really highlights a massive trade-off that we as software engineers need to be hyper-aware of when choosing our tech stack.
Which leads us to part 3. Why is C++ so fast?
So the crucial point here is understanding exactly why C++ leaves these other languages in the dust. It all actually goes back to 1979. A computer scientist named Bjarne Stroustrup was working with a language called Simula, which was the very first object-oriented programming language. He loved the modular software design it offered, but there was a huge catch. It was incredibly slow. So he had a vision. He wanted the brilliant modularity of OOP, but he built it directly on top of the C language, which was already famous for being lightning fast and portable. Initially, he just called it C with classes. Over the decades, it evolved into C++, continually adding features like the STL in 1998, lambda functions in 2011, and coroutines in 2020. But through all that, it always prioritized raw performance alongside new capabilities. So what's the secret sauce today? Well, a huge part of C++'s dominance in speed contexts, especially in competitive programming, is its use of the STL, or Standard Template Library. This is a super powerful, highly optimized set of pre-implemented data structures. We're talking things like lists, stacks, and queues. When you use the STL, you aren't just saving yourself typing time, you're actually deploying foundational code that has been ruthlessly optimized under the hood. It's ready to deploy instantly, and honestly, it's going to execute faster than almost anything you could write from scratch in a short time frame.
Section 4. Execution speed versus program design.
As your technical mentor, I really have to emphasize that raw runtime speed is not the only metric that matters in software engineering. We have to look at the bigger picture here. This brings us to a fundamental trade-off. If your sole goal is pure execution speed, say for that high-frequency trading firm we talked about, C++ is your undisputed winner. But if you look at how a program is designed, maintained, and scaled across a huge team of developers, well, Java often takes the lead. Java's design principles can make the entire software development process smoother and a lot easier to manage. Basically, you are trading a bit of the processor's speed for the programmer's speed.
Let's apply this directly to your own career path. Think about competitive programming versus a corporate software engineering interview. In competitive programming, the platforms demand absolute execution speed. They set strict time limits, like 2x or 3x multipliers, where a perfectly correct algorithm written in Python might still fail simply because the language itself is too slow, whereas the C++ version passes with flying colors. But step into a software development interview. Your interviewers generally care a whole lot more about your problem-solving process, how you structure your logic, and your overall program design, rather than just raw microsecond execution speed.
And that brings us to number 5, a mentor's final advice.
Let's wrap up this explainer with some truly practical advice for your software engineering journey. What should you actually do with all this benchmarking data? Well, the most powerful takeaway is this quote right from our source material. Learn all the languages so that you can use the particular language when you cross it. As the data clearly shows, there is no single perfect language. If you stay in software development long enough, you're absolutely going to encounter situations where Java's object-oriented design is exactly what you need to manage a massive codebase. And you will just as surely hit bottlenecks where C++'s unmatched speed is uniquely required to make the project viable. You really just need to be adaptable.
So before you write your very next line of code, ask yourself this. Are you building for the programmer's speed or the processor's speed? What truly matters for your specific project? Keep exploring, keep learning the unique strengths and weaknesses of each language, and always strive to find the absolute perfect tool for the job. Thanks for hanging out for this mentorship session, and keep coding.